Okay, so here's the questions from Dr. Frost, and you are solving these quadratic equations, all right? Now this first one, I'm going to go straight to factorising, put into two brackets. I'm not going to use split the middle term, okay, because this is such an easy one, and it's always easy if there's only 1x squared here, because you know that has to be x times by x when you expand the brackets, okay? So I'm just going to go have a guess and check basically. So not really splitting the middle term, just guess and check. Now the two numbers that go at the end have got to multiply to give negative 12. So what have we got? 12 times 1, 6 times 2, 4 times 3. Now I'm pretty sure that it's 4 times 3. And the reason why is because 4 here and a 3 here. And I think it's negative 4 times positive 3, because when you expand, it gives you x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 12 equals 0. And can you see that this becomes the minus 1x that you actually need, okay? So I don't need splitting the middle term if I've just got x squared. So therefore we get x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. Solve x equals minus 3, or x equals to 4. Now for this one, you could also choose not to split the middle term, because this is going to be 2x, this is going to be x, and now the two numbers here have got to multiply together to give minus 33, and you could guess and check it. The problem is that guess and checking might take a bit of a long time, and you've got to kind of keep expanding your brackets to see if you've got the right answer. So this is where we try split the middle term, okay? So now we've got to use the numbers 2 here, the negative 19 here, the negative 33, and we play with these numbers to have a good guess and check. You ready for this? So we do 2 times negative 33 equals negative 66. We bring down the negative 19 here, and we need two numbers that multiply to give negative 66, but then sum to give negative 19. And I can see it straight away. I can see 3 times 22 to give negative 66. But I need one of them negative 22, is that right? Negative 22 and positive 3. So negative 22 times positive 3 is negative 66, negative 22 times by 3, yeah, okay, that makes sense, and negative 22 plus 3 is negative 19. So now we split the middle term, 2x squared, instead of negative 19x, we do plus 3x and minus 22x, and then minus 33. Now you might wonder, what if I chose to write it the other way? 2x squared minus 22x plus 3x minus 33 equals 0. And the answer is, it doesn't actually matter which way around you write it, because you're always going to get the same answer. So I'll just write it this way. Now the whole point about splitting the middle term, it makes life a bit easier, because your factorising now is just factorising actually in pairs. So take the first two terms, and that's in green, and factorise. So the common factor is x, 2x plus 3, and now take the next two terms in blue and look at a common factor. I can see 11 divides in there, but because I've got negative 22, I'm actually going to take out negative 11. So if I take out negative 11 as a factor, I'm going to get 2x here, and then plus 3 here. And then can you see that 2x plus 3 is a common factor, 2x plus 3, and then I'm going to get x minus 11. So we've got 2x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 11 equals 0, and then you can go ahead and finish that one off, all right? But the naughty one was this, 5x squared plus 30x minus 10 equals 0. Now there's a sneaky first step, because can you see everything can divide by 5? So if we divide by 5, we've got, can't divide by 5, we've got x squared plus 6x minus 2 equals 0, okay? And because it's 1x squared, I'm just going to go to guess and check. This has to be x times x to give x squared, and to get the negative 2, it has to be 2 times 1. But can you see a problem here? Now, to get negative 2, it can be negative 2 and positive 1, but this just gives us x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2 equals 0. So this is x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0, but we need plus 6x. In fact, there is no combination of numbers here. We cannot actually factorize this to solve the equation, all right? So we can't actually solve this by factorizing. The thing is, it does have solutions, we just can't find those solutions by factorising. So we actually have to learn a new technique, and that's what we're going to go on to today or maybe tomorrow's lesson. Okay? So now, what is a quadratic equation? Well, clearly a quadratic equation just is anything that has an x squared in it. Okay? So you've got ax squared plus bx plus c. A, b and c could be numbers, positive or negative, but we just need a to be not equal to 0, so there has to be an x squared in the equation. Okay? You saw quadratics like this, and then you thought how to solve them, and we used to solve them, or we have them, by factorising. Okay? But do we always factorise to solve, and are there always solutions? Okay? Well, do we always factorise to solve? Well, here's a quadratic equation, sometimes in this form, but notice this is quadratic because it has some x squareds, but notice it doesn't have any x's. Alright, so for this one actually we just rearrange 3x squared, add 12 to both sides, divide both sides by 3, and then the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So x equals the square root of 4. There will always be two answers to the square root of 4, and this is positive or negative 2. Okay? So in answer to the question, do we always factorise to solve quadratics? Well, for this one we didn't, because this one didn't have any x's, it just had x squares and numbers. So we just made x the subject. For this one, add 3 to both sides, and now take the square root of 3. We'll get a positive and a negative answer, and you can put that on your calculator and you will get 1.41, positive or negative. Oh, let me just check that you do get 1.41. I'll get my calculator out. Let's have a look. So 3 square root is, oh yeah, that didn't look quite right. No, that's not right either. Let's just reset. 3 square root. I've actually got on my rubbish calculator 1.7, but that's not right, so I'll go to my TI Inspire and I've got it here. Root 3 is 1.73. Aha. Okay, so my little calculator didn't work very well. My big calculator was a lot more accurate, and that is 1.73. And this final question, x squared subtract 4 from both sides, x equals the square root of negative 4, and you'll find that it doesn't work because there is no number multiplied by itself to give negative 4. So in answer to these questions, do we always need to factorise to solve? No. We can solve sometimes by just making x the subject, but that's a special case when there are no x squareds in the middle bit. And are there always solutions? Well, sometimes there aren't solutions. Okay, and we saw that there. Question 3. If we can solve by factorising, do we always split the middle term? Well, we don't always have to. We can just do guess and check. I would say that anytime we've got 1x squared, it might actually be quicker just to put your brackets as factors side by side, x and x, and then guess and check. To get the 2 here, you need a 2 times 1. It's a positive 2, so these numbers could be negative, negative, or they could be positive, positive. And then you just check by expanding and seeing what the middle term becomes. Even here you could guess and check 3x here, x here. Then to get the plus 8, it could be 8 times 1, or it could be 4 times 2, or it could be switched round, both positive, both negative. So it could be a guess and check technique, but however, I would maybe suggest that for these ones, in particular this style, it might be better to actually try and split the middle term, because it might just be a little bit more efficient and quicker to get to your answer. Alright, so that's the kind of starter video that I wanted you to watch. I'll put this on YouTube, and then you are working on the questions given here.